Hello, I'm Toycat, and if you download the latest beta or preview for Minecraft Bedrock, you'll immediately notice that all of your copper horns have vanished from your inventory. In fact, they've not just vanished from your inventory, they've vanished from Minecraft as a whole because they have officially removed the copper horn, and interestingly enough, in this same update, they've entirely changed the Mangrove Swamp, supposedly made some pretty sweeping changes there, and also at the same time, they've added the recovery compass, and for the first time ever, Spectator mode is semi-officially in the game. They've got a really weird explanation as to how that is not coming in 1.19 and likely 1.20 and beyond. It's really interesting, but first, let's talk about 1.19 and how they removed a feature, added another one, and made a whole ton of other changes because this is an incredibly interesting Bedrock beta, and let's jump straight into it. It smells concerningly like wood right now, which is a problem because I can't subscribe to my own channel, and did you know greater than 99% of house fires happen to people who aren't subscribed to IBXToycat? Bet you didn't know that. Speaking of things I bet you didn't know, this is a Mangrove Swamp, and it has changed substantially in this update. This is one from before the latest Bedrock beta and preview. It's a really interesting new biome, I'm very curious, and supposedly they changed it to be more like the Java equivalent, which means this same seed, same place, should get significantly more mangrovey. Let's see if that's true though. Yeah, you can immediately see the difference here. It seems as though they've substantially expanded the average size of a Mangrove Swamp biome. Obviously in some cases it might get smaller or changed to be wider, thinner, etc. But they have made Mangrove Swamps a substantially different size, and also you'll notice they actually now have mangrove logs, which is something that came to Java a long time ago, but it's cool to see it here on Bedrock regardless. So this is, ooh, look at this, got some moss carpets on there. This is the Mangrove Swamp. It is now a substantially bigger biome, which can lead to you being lost in it more effectively. I mean, from the inside of here, it can be hard to see your way out besides that desert. From the inside of here, it can be hard to really see anything that's going on. I think that makes it a really fun and interesting new biome, and I like that they've made some changes to it. Personally, I wouldn't have gone this big on the biomes, but again, maybe if we're going for like that exploration factor, a wild update we could say, then maybe it makes sense to have really big new biomes that you can genuinely get a little bit lost in if you don't know what you're doing. Let me know if you agree with that or not, because my take on this is, yeah, the new type of wood, really cool. The new biome, really cool. Is being really big the goal? I guess for the sake of seed parity, they kind of had to make it this way, so interesting little change, but it's not the only change they made in 1.19.0.25. If you're curious, by the way, about that beta name, I usually don't explain these, but basically, it's a 1.19 beta, so that's why it starts with a 0, and then the version number. It's and obviously, this is going to be for the 1.19 update, which is coming out somewhat soon, maybe? By the way, because of the fact that they're so much larger, it means they can intrude on other biomes now. Look at this. This is technically a Mangrove Swamp biome island in the sky. Definitely shouldn't be, but it totally is. So also in this update, they've added all sorts of other things, like the recovery compass. So the recovery compass is a fun new concept that actually takes advantage of the ancient cities. So I usually don't talk about features that I've already mentioned in the Java snapshots here on Bedrock, or vice versa, because obviously that'd be duplication, but there's something interesting I need to mention about the recovery compass, because it is of course crafted from these weird Warden baguettes, or these sculpt cucumbers, whatever you want to call them. The echo shards crafted together with a compass makes yourself a lovely little recovery compass. It's really cool because it points to your last death location, or if you don't have one, it's a way of showing you've never died in a world, which is pretty cool. But yeah, the interesting thing is it's crafted from these echo shards, and these echo shards still are not found in the chests because they haven't updated chest loot since the very beginning of Bedrock, which means that still all you can find is books and bones and candles, and you know, they are making significant efforts to change that, and they have done so on Java, but at least right now, at least maybe not till next week, we still have the old loot, which means you cannot get these in survival yet, but you get the premise, right? All we have to do is die, which we can do manually, or we can have the Warden kill us, or we can use the command and just, wow, look, now we're dead. And now you'll see that my if I want to find my old death location, because it was in the middle of a big ancient city, how am I going to find that? All I've got to do is look at the little recovery compass, and it'll point me right there, which, because of the echo shards, they know how death works. I guess that's a fun little bit of lore for this dimension. And so yeah, the recovery compass is of course worthless in hardcore mode, where you should not ever be dying. And you know what? If you're a pro MLG Minecraft player, it's also worthless. But for everyone else out there, I genuinely feel like this is one of those cool items. But for the first time in Minecraft's history, we have an item that is explicitly not useful while you are alive. This is an item that if you carry with you, will not ever have value. It's something you need to put near your spawn location to help you find your stuff when you die. I actually think that's really cool game design, and I like it quite a bit. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't, but again, you need to get 8 of these lovely little sparkly cucumbers, and then once you've done that, you can come over here and you can, or once you've got these from here, I should say, you can now save yourself from death situations, which will be really, really useful for the Nether, I think, and maybe the End Islands too, depending on what you're doing out there. And so yeah, it's a big improvement. In fact, I'd say overall, they made changes to the Warden this week. If you want me to read through them, wow, let's explain the Warden now. So they made several changes to the Skulk Shrieker and the Warden, making it so they wouldn't be triggered by redstone activation, tweaking the particles, running away from a Skulk Shrieker during the shrieking is no longer a viable way of preventing the summoning of the Warden. That is kind of worrying. It's another little way to buff the Warden and its spawning. The Skulk Shrieker no longer attempts to spawn in peaceful, and also will now spread to the highest threat level amongst players, rather than the threat of the closest player. Interesting little changes that you wouldn't think about. The Warden now has a hurt animation when taking damage. You know, actually, we need to see that, don't we? I feel like, you know, let's just see what happens. Summon in a Warden. Can't do it because it's peaceful mode. Let's see what happens if we have a Warden right here, shall we? I bet we'll last really long on this difficulty. This is the, oh my god, oh god. So yeah, they haven't added all sorts of... So yeah, right now on Bedrock... Oh, sweet, by the way, this is what I mean. If we want to find out where we died, which, you know, let's be honest, I kind of do. This is the way to do it. I actually think we've trapped ourselves in here. You know, pro tip, don't spawn on these things. Not a smart place to do stuff. But yeah, now if we go back to the Warden, wherever he is, I hear his beating heart. It's the most terrifying thing. Honestly, the Warden is this masterclass in sound design more than anything else. Okay, so I definitely let him know where I am. I just don't know where he is. Oh, it's scary. He could be anywhere. So you might be aware that the Warden has a fun thing to stop you coming after him. Okay, I got the darkness effect, but he wasn't here. And basically, he has the new Shriek attack on the Java Edition snapshots. That has not arrived yet on the Bedrock Edition. As cool as it looks, as fun as a debate there is to be had about, like, wow, is this OP? Is this the right amount of power? Will players still beat the Warden? There's all these fun issues we could talk about, but sadly it's not here in the Bedrock beta. In fact, I would say as far as the Warden design has come, every Bedrock beta has been, and even the Ancient City, every Bedrock beta has been a little bit behind the Java on that, which is a shame because the Bedrock has been at the forefront of things like chest boats or allies and stuff, but it's been behind when it comes to the Warden, which probably makes sense. Like, the performance of a mob that, like, basically can track a whole biome is something that I could see you being scared of. So, okay, here we go. Here is a Warden, right? He should be able to just Skulk Shriek to me if he wants to. Ouch. Oh, look how it's so terrifying. Look at this. Even now, I look at him and I'm just a little scared. Yeah, come get me, buddy. So right now, on Bedrock Edition, he still cannot. Oh, maybe he can. Okay. Also, as you can see, he's got a heart animation now. Very useful to see. Like, you actually feel like you're doing something when you punch him, which is important. Even for a super strong Minecraft mob, it needs to feel like he's reactive to the environment. Speaking of reactive to the environment, do you want to kill me, buddy? Nah, I'm not gonna let you. Oh god, oh no, what have I done? See, even without the magic attack, it's still so terrifying. Has to be said. So what else is in this update, I hear you asking? Well, for the first time, and you know, correctly so, reinforced Deep Slate, this mystery block that the portal in the Ancient City is crafted out of, cannot be moved with pistons. This is intentional. They accidentally made it so they were movable by pistons. They patched it quickly on Java. They've only just gone around to patching on Bedrock. Important parity, I guess. And also important parity, and in fact just important change to Minecraft in my opinion. Packed mud used to craft into mud bricks at a ratio of 4-to-1, and it just seems super, you know, like, given the amount of effort it takes to make mud, I feel as though that was unfair, and it seems as though Minecraft has agreed, because 4 packed mud now equals 4 of these mud bricks. In case you don't believe me, I don't know why you wouldn't. Why would you watch a Minecraft news video and then not believe the Minecraft news? But then, in case that is you, here you can see 4 packed mud, 4 packed mud bricks. Wow, how wonderful that is. Speaking of things that are wonderful, before we talk about the goat horn, copper goat horn, and spectator mode things, because I am so interested in those, I just want to point out, because they made changes to the boat chest this week, important small things, but sure. I just want to point out something brilliant that I didn't realize when I first spoke about chest boats, because it was an off-the-cuff immediate video. Not only are they more useful for hoppers than you might realize, that like, ooh, isn't it cool that you can do that stuff? Also, did you know hoppers waterlogged like this? I've never seen them properly. Whatever, anyway. So it's really handy for that. But also, you can put the boat chest in, just like so, which is wonderful. But you can also put a chest... Okay, so by the way, if you are in a boat, and you have a chest boat, then your inventory basically doubles. If you want to see what that looks like, it's right here. Wow, I've got my inventory, got my boat chest inventory. If you want to expand your inventory even further, put a donkey in the other slot, then put a chest on him, and as you can see, now we've got the donkey chest, and we've got the chest boat chest, and we've got our own inventory, and so this is, I would say, the early game solution to storage. It's like a shulker box that kind of moves in one place, and it only really works for Bedrock because of the lead thing, which still isn't there in Java. Speaking of things that aren't on Java, the goat horn is an interesting change that they still haven't added there yet, despite it being a 1.18.17 feature from Bedrock. They have, it looks like this will be shipping in 1.19 at the end, minus the copper goat horn. They said that the copper goat horn, despite as fun as it was an experimental feature that they just decided they weren't happy with the game design direction on, which is really sad because, as you know if you watched my video, which is now the last remaining trace of them, going through all of the copper goat horn sounds, I really liked quite a few of them. It did feel a little bit silly. I would say the problem with Variety is not the copper version, but it's having 9 individual variants of the regular goat horn, but whatever, I digress. They made another change to the goat horn though, besides making it the only goat horn, and that's that it now plays instantly. As you can see, you play while you're blowing into it rather than before, but that also, because you play as you blow into it, that means, interestingly enough, as you're going to see right here, you can activate it. Oh, wait. You can activate it, then you can kind of run away, which is still weird because it will play behind you and it gets quieter in a weird way. So it's still not ideal, I guess you could say. But it's still really cool that the goat horn is now a little bit less of a pain to use, but that probably means that people will abuse it more in multiplayer. But that's half the fun, right? The goat horn is meant to be this communicatory device, and now you can communicate all you like with the best goat horns in existence. Speaking of the best goat horns in existence, the cooldown is shared across all of them. All of the other goat horn mechanics remain intact, but they have added an interesting little change, which is that they now spawn in pillager outposts. Not villager outposts. Villagers should make outposts too, though, am I right? But they spawn in pillager outposts, and as great as that is, the most benefit just means that even if you're playing survival, if you don't want to deal with goats ramming into things, you can get your goat horns just by going to pillager outposts, which makes sense. Now there is a canonical explanation as to why they make that noise. They have goat horns. It officially makes sense, and I'm happy with that. The final thing I want to talk about here is Game Mode 6. That's right, there's Game Mode 0, which is, of course, we've gone through this whole thing before. There's lots of game modes in Minecraft that you can play through, but Game Mode 6 is going to be an official part of the betas from here on out. So they mentioned this on the changelog as like, we're not happy with it, we're not finished with Spectator, but we are going to allow people to play around with it. It's not going to be in the final version of 1.19, but in some future update, they have committed to actually making sure that we have Spectator mode on Bedrock, which is important for parity. I guess in a weird way, all they really confirmed is that Spectator mode isn't a 1.19 feature, because we always knew that at some point it was going to come, but it's important to hear it regardless, and that's really fun. I would like to see an update on hardcore mode while we're talking about new game modes, but yeah, Spectator, really fun, can do all sorts of weird things with it, I guess. And yeah, look at this. I'm flying through blocks because Game Mode 6 is now official, which in a weird way is effectively the same thing as doing nothing, but it's cool to know that this wasn't a big mistake on a development feature, or if it was, they're at least allowing us to keep it for now. Who knows how that goes in the future. Speaking of things we don't know if they're happening in the future or not, sadness. That's what it is. Where's my copper horn, huh? Speaking of sadness, by the way, if you wanna make sure that Spectator mode works, oh, look at that, personal game mode, blank. I'm not in any game mode right now. I've never seen that. That's so quirky to me. Make sure you go into Creator first, and make sure you fly, and then activate Game Mode 6. You'll have a much better time with what you're doing. And speaking of having a time with what you're doing, I wanted to talk about the last thing today, because as always in these videos, we don't dive into all the minutiae on the changelog. There is interesting things in there, like the partition controls being more permanent. Biome blending has changed. It looks like this instead of this now. It's a slight different thing that you might notice when the update comes out. But the really interesting thing to me is even more hints at the release, because as they explain why Spectator mode isn't going to be a public part of the update and instead is going to stay as this very strange kind of feature, they explain that it's because 1.19 is too close to shipping and so they can't finish the feature before it comes out. And again, this is just another hint that it is in fact close. If this was an update that was coming out in the end of this year, as it could have been a full year update, that wouldn't be expected. But yeah, it seems as though just 6-7 months, maybe even fewer potentially, but just 6 or 7 months after 1.18 comes out, we're going to be seeing 1.19. This is a fascinating direction to take Minecraft in my opinion. It means we will be seeing 1.20 most likely before the end of the year, assuming no big delays, which you know, admittedly in Minecraft, terms. That is a very big if. But yeah, that is very, very interesting to hear. Because again, everyone's been saying as if it's been confirmed this whole time. I've heard so many people say, "Oh, I thought we already knew it was coming out spring of 2022, right? I thought we already knew it was coming out summer." I've heard lots of people say lots of things that sound like they're confirmed, but with release dates, they are very tight-lipped. All they have officially said right now is, 2022. They haven't been more precise. However, it's something I like to dive into, and so if you'd like to see all of the information we have less officially than that, like a proper trailer, let me know, because I like to actually analyze when it's coming out based on that stuff. Let me know if you're curious about when you're going to see this new update, because I am so excited. Speaking of things I'm excited for, I've been playing Super Flat Survival recently. Don't know if you know about that. And if you want to come over to the streams, it's been amazing the number of members that have been joining the channel. It's been really encouraging me to do more. And so thank you to all of you for watching the streams. And to those of you that member, thank you so much for that too. Speaking of things that you can member, I hope you member to subscribe with notifications turned on, because this is the end of this video. And if you want to see another one, then, I don't know, I hope the algorithm gods send you my way next time, because I'll see you then. Goodbye. Please subscribe. Please don't make me grovel. I don't want to do it, man. Do you want to hear about cool new things? I bet you do. Subscribing is a great way to do that. Who am I kidding? I just want the subscribe thing that says 1.99 million to be accurate, so that people don't ask questions about it anymore. That's all I want in life. Anyway, hope that you enjoyed your life, because I'll see you next time. Bye.